Percents and decimals, that's what we're working with today. And basically, you've got to think of it as two different languages, because we can take any percent and rewrite it as a decimal, and any decimal and make it into a percent. If you're trying to wrap your head around what that means, think of it as English and Spanish. Okay, if we had a word in English, like let's just say it was hello, and then we had the greeting for hi in Spanish of hola. We've got those two ways of communicating, but they're different languages, but they mean the same thing. So let's just put an equal sign in between them. This is pretty much the same thing as that. So let's get right to business. How do we convert a percentage into a decimal? It's not bad. It's really not. So let's scroll down here and get us a little bit more space. And here's 4 examples that we'll take a look at. And here's the basic steps that we have right here. There's a decimal that's involved every single time. And we're just going to move it 2 places to the left, and then we just drop that percentage sign. So let's go right here. Where's my decimal at? It's actually waiting right behind the 7. It's like an invisible decimal. You can put it in there if you need to. And we move it 2 spots to the left, and then we leave the decimal sit right there. So that becomes 0.47, and we remove the percentage sign. Now, if we're wanting to be extremely picky, which I don't want to be, but just to prepare you for the worst, go ahead and put a 0 in there if there's nothing else there. Okay? So let's move this one over 2 spots to the right, and it winds up behind the 1. And I'm sorry, I said 2 spots to the right. It should be 2 spots to the left. I apologize. So 1, 2, and it wound up right behind the 1. We don't necessarily have to keep the zeros there. Sometimes people will keep 1 0. Sometimes they'll just let it be as 1. Make sure you take that percentage sign off and you're done. Let's go do 45.8%. Move it 2 to the left. And in this case, it's going to wind up right in front of the 8. Excuse me, in front of the 4. And we're done. 45.8% turns into 0.458. These two are equal to each other. This is in percentages, this is in decimals, so it's like 2 different languages, but they are equal to each other. And then this one right here, 0.6%, this one causes a lot of people problems, but again, we're only going to move the decimal 2 to the left. And so what happens is if you've got 2 zeros in between the 6 and the decimal place, and it's because it's less than 1%. That's what's happening there. So that's how we change any percent into a decimal. It will always be just 2 places to the left on that decimal movement, and we remove the percentage sign. It works every single time without even having to think about it. When we're looking at a decimal and trying to make that into a percent, really all we're going to do is reverse the process. We're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right, and then this time we're going to add the percentage sign to it. So let's go through and get this done. Move it 2 to the right. Well, that makes it 56, and now we just add the percentage sign. Move it 2 to the right. That makes it 145. Add the percentage sign. Add this only 2 to the right, and this makes it 0.02%. It's a very small percentage, a lot less than even 1%. And now this one, move it 2 to the right, and we're stuck with 4%.